Whether you love him or can't stand him, one thing is impossible to deny. When Donald Trump walks into a room, people react. Cameras turn, crowds roar, opponents tense up, and millions of people across the entire world feel something they can't quite explain. This video isn't about politics. It's about the psychological machinery underneath that reaction. Because the same forces that make people follow Trump are the forces that make people follow anyone. Here's what we're actually going to do. We're going to treat confidence like a machine and take it apart piece by piece. Trump is just our case study because he's one of the clearest examples alive. But everything you're about to learn applies to CEOs, cult leaders, your most magnetic friend, and maybe the person you are trying to become. Psychologists have a name for this effect. It's called dominant signaling, and your brain is wired to respond to it whether you agree with the message or not. So let's break down the 5 signals. Number 1 is the one almost everyone gets wrong. The first signal isn't what he says, it's how certain he sounds when he says it. Psychologists call it the certainty bias. Our brains use confidence as a shortcut for competence. When someone speaks with total conviction, no hedging, no maybe, no I think, a primitive part of the brain assumes they must know something we don't. Studies on group decision-making show the same thing again and again. The most confident voice in the room shapes the group's opinion more than the most accurate one. Trump almost never qualifies a statement. He doesn't say, I believe this might work. He says it's going to be incredible, the best ever. That absolute certainty feels like strength. And the human brain is drawn to certainty like a moth to light. Because for 200,000 years, the confident leader was usually the one who kept the tribe alive. But certainty alone isn't enough. Because here's the problem. Anyone can sound sure. So why him? Before a single word lands, your brain has already read the body. Posture, the handshake that pulls the other person off balance. The wide stance, the slow, deliberate movements that say, I am not in a hurry because I am not threatened. These are called dominance cues, and they operate below conscious awareness. Primatologists see the exact same displays in alpha animals, taking up space, controlling the tempo, never flinching first. We like to think we've evolved past this. We haven't. In experiments, people consistently rate the person who occupies more physical space and moves more slowly as more leader-like, even when they say nothing at all. Trump's physical language is a masterclass in this. The lean, the point, the pause. None of it is accidental. All of it tells your nervous system, this person is in control. Now, if you're starting to notice these patterns in people around you, that's exactly the point. That's what this channel does. We decode the hidden psychology running underneath everyday human behavior. If that's your kind of thing, subscribe, because the third signal is where it stops being about him and starts being about you. The third signal is sneaky because it disguises itself as weakness. Critics mock the simple words, the repeated phrases, the short, punchy slogans, but psychology calls this the fluency effect, and it's devastatingly powerful. The easier an idea is to process, the truer it feels. Not because it is true, because your brain confuses easy to understand with correct. Repeat a phrase enough times, keep it simple enough, and it stops being a statement and becomes a belief, what researchers call the illusory truth effect. Trump's messaging is built on exactly this. A handful of words, repeated relentlessly, impossible to forget. While opponents deliver nuanced paragraphs nobody remembers, he delivers 3 words everybody can chant. And in the war for human attention, the simple, repeated message wins almost every time. But none of this would work without the fourth signal, the one that turns a person into a movement. Humans don't follow leaders. We follow crowds. The fourth signal is social proof, the instinct that says if thousands of people believe something, it must be worth believing. A packed rally isn't just an event. It's a psychological signal broadcast to everyone watching. You are not alone. You belong here. And belonging is one of the deepest human needs there is. The most powerful leaders don't just offer ideas, they offer an identity, a group to be part of, an us. Once you're part of the us, something shifts in the brain. Criticism of the leader starts to feel like an attack on you. That's why facts rarely change a true believer's mind, because by then it was never about facts. It was about identity. And identity is the strongest glue in human psychology. You've felt this yourself, even if you've never noticed it. Think about the last time you scrolled past a video with 200 views versus one with 2 million. Which one did you trust more before watching a single second? That's social proof hijacking your judgment in real time. The same instinct that makes you pick the crowded restaurant over the empty one is the instinct that turns a packed arena into proof of legitimacy. The crowd becomes the argument, and the bigger the crowd, the less your rational mind even bothers to question it. The fifth signal is the most counterintuitive of all. For most public figures, scandal is poison. For a certain kind of leader, it's fuel. Here's the psychology. When you've built an identity around being the outsider, the fighter, the one they are all against, every attack actually confirms the story. Critics think they're landing a blow. To the believer, they're proving the point. This is sometimes called an anti-fragile frame, a position that doesn't just survive pressure, it grows stronger because of it. Combine that with the first four signals: unshakable certainty, dominant presence, simple repeated messaging, and a tribe that feels personally attacked on his behalf. And you don't have a politician anymore. You have a psychological phenomenon. So how do you protect yourself? You don't do it by becoming cynical about everyone. You do it by learning to separate the signal from the substance. The next time someone makes you feel certain, pause and ask one question. Am I convinced by their evidence or just by their confidence? When a message feels obviously, effortlessly true, that's exactly the moment to slow down and check whether it's simple because it's honest or simple because it's engineered. And when you feel the pull of the crowd, ask whether you actually agree or whether you just don't want to stand alone. Awareness is the one thing these five signals cannot survive. The moment you can name the technique, it loses its grip on you. So why do millions follow Donald Trump? Not because of one trait, because of five psychological forces stacked on top of each other, the same forces that have built every powerful movement in human history, for better and for worse. And here's the uncomfortable takeaway. These triggers don't care whether they're used for good or for harm. They work either way. The only real defense is seeing them clearly. Now you can. The question is, once you start noticing these five signals, where else will you see them? Watch this next video and let's keep decoding.